The next profile that we're going to address is the Associator. And the Associator value system is a sense of belonging, a sense of association. These are the kinds of people that want to be involved, they want to be accepted, they want to be part of a group. It really truly is a sense of belonging. So we're going to talk about them, and it's really people attributes. And remember, it's between 0 and 100%. And again, I'm going to repeat myself. There's 4 profiles: the accomplisher, the influencer, the associator, and the contributor. Everybody has all 4 profiles. All are equally as important. There isn't one that's any more important than the other. But everybody has a dominant. Everybody has subordinates. The dominant is what drives that person, then the subordinate is like the supporting cast in a play. The results appear in percentages, and the combination of the 4 profiles becomes an individual's personal source code. So now we're on to the associator. The associator has a much broader focus than, say, the influencer, but not as big as the accomplisher. They cannot multitask. These are very detail-oriented people. They tend to be very procedural. And they have this sense of belonging. They will go out of their way, depending upon what their scores are, to be accepted, to be liked, and to become part of a family. Now, as a result, whatever it is they do, whether they're working for somebody in a sales capacity, whether they're owning their own business, independent, franchise, doesn't really matter. They have to have a sense of family, and they have to have close friends. That's important to them. So in a lot of businesses, they'll actually hire friends and families, and they generally are only going to be able to handle 3 to 5. Now, I can tell you that the Starbucks model is a model that's designed especially for an associator. And if you're a customer of Starbucks, and if you go in there on a regular basis, the person behind the cash register and the barista probably knows you by name, knows a lot about your family, they know your routine, they know what time you're going to be coming in, they know a lot about you because they want you to feel part of their family, and they want to feel part of your family. They like the routine. They're also not risk takers, and they are truly team players. They represent 38% of the population. And we're going to see it's also correlated to the red states in American political environment. Now look at the 4 profiles and the 3 skills, and look at where the associator comes out. Sales and marketing, customer service skills? No, not at all. The associator is sales adverse. And the reason they're sales adverse is because they don't want to ever do anything that would alienate them from being liked. So they're not generally good at sales and marketing. Yellow when it comes to business administration and HR management, and the reason why it's yellow is that it's generally very limited to 3 to 5 people, but they're very strong, as you can see, in regards to the product or the technical skills. So if you ever have a dominant associator working for you, and if you have a series of manuals or procedural books, or if you want to do research or need research done, it's the associator that you want doing that research, because they'll drill down. And in a lot of cases, I've even seen situations where they have been asked to recite where something appears in a particular manual, and they'll tell you what page, and they'll even reference the information that's on that page. They're very, very detail oriented. They're also amiable. They're very accommodating. Very strong work ethics. Very strong attention to detail. They're dependable. They're loyal. They're compassionate. And they're very customer service oriented. So if you have the kind of business, or one of our clients has the kind of business where customer service is very important and the back office is very important, you want the associator back there. They tend to be very realistic in terms of their goals and their aspirations. Income is not a motivator. You cannot go to the associator and say, listen, this is a business that's going to drive your income, or it's going to drive your prestige. It's not a motivator. Safety, security, and being accepted is. They want to involve their friends and families. And in business, they're limited to a very small ma and pa kind of business. Now, what's interesting is that the associator and the value system and that sense of belonging is so strong that if they have a favorite team, regardless of the sport, these are the people that are going to be the loyal fans. They're going to be out there watching the games regardless of whether or not the teams are any good, and they're going to be wearing the hats and the jackets and the shirts and anything with a logo, anything where they can be associated with something that's part of their family. So they'll consider that sports team part of their family. They're very blue collar, larger percentage of the population in the U.S., and they can be found generally targeted in the Midwest or the red states. Now, their fear, and remember, one of the important things that we have to understand is what is the fear of an individual. Their fear is being separated from their loved ones. That would sever the aorta. That would be the kiss of death, is to make them feel isolated, alone, and not part of something. What we've learned from our research is that at 45%, the need to belong becomes a factor. At 70%, it's starting to become a dominant factor. And at 82% or above, what happens is that this sense of belonging, the sense of association, this trust building gets a little out of whack, and they tend to be incredibly needy. So if we've ever heard someone say or refer to somebody else as being excessively needy, needing a lot of hand-holding, a lot of touchy-feely kind of association, it's generally because they are a high dominant associator. We need to look at that. Now, as a result, the words that are important to them, because of this strong value system, are words like God, loyalty, security, family, commitment, togetherness, country, passion, teamwork, dependability, safety, relationships, religion. Business focus, what they're going to look for is service-oriented businesses where they can meet or exceed the customer's expectations. Very hands-on, single location, very few employees, and what happens is they tend to also avoid conflict. And the reason they avoid conflict with employees or with associates is because they generally know that employee or that associate's family. And if there's conflict, especially when it comes to hiring or firing, they're not going to fire. They're going to do everything they can to make it work because they understand the implications it's going to have on the extended family. They're limited in terms of products or inventory, and they look for the kinds of businesses or the kinds of positions where there's little managerial functions and duties. They like regular hours. They like routine. They're very loyal people. They have wonderful relationships with customers. They will seek the customer out. The customers will seek them out. It's generally family and friends. And from an industry standpoint, they're going to look for something that's not cutting edge, but something that has minimal change. Low cost, low risk people. They need strong support coming from their friends, coming from their groups, coming from the organization. Very hands-on, very hardworking. They'll do the detail. Team and people oriented. They're going to follow the systems as designed. They are incredibly obedient. Good customer service skills, and they have very realistic goals. They might want more support than what generally is offered. They don't like change at all. They dislike change, and they won't cause conflict. Their trust is very fragile. If you say you're going to call them at 2 o'clock on a Tuesday and you wait until 4 o'clock, the longer they wait, the less trust they have in you. And they're not interested in building empires. They want safety and security. Income is not important to them. So the value system of the associator is that of safety, security, a sense of belonging, and family.